Hello all and welcome to Fergie time at fantasyfootballhub.co.uk, where I'll be rating FPL teams from the community and answering your questions live in the chat every single day from now until the deadline on Friday, August the 13th. I'll be showing my latest draft at the end of the stream too, so do hang around and I'll talk you through my current thinking, even though we've just had some news in the last kind of half an hour or so, which could be a bit of a game breaker, which I'm sure we'll discuss in a moment. My name is Fergie. And for any new watchers, you are very, very welcome. If you haven't subscribed to us yet, please press the subscribe button in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen and set the alerts so you don't miss any of our daily content right here on this channel. Also, please press the like button if you enjoy our content. We'd be very, very grateful if you could press the like button. Good afternoon, everybody. Loads of people already here. Purple, El Diablo, Josh Greamer, Jack Plellinger, Alpha, Josh Strange, Nobody, Audi, George, Pete Gray. There's a couple of people in the chat. I think you'll be rating your teams this afternoon. And hello there, Joe Bellamy as well. Just before we get into it, if you haven't already signed up to fantasyfootballhub.co.uk, there's currently a pre-season 25% discount link at the top of the description below. Members get unlimited access to all our Fantasy Premier League tools, including Opta Stats, comparison tools, points predictions tools, the Game Week 1 team reveals from the very best FPL managers in the world, masses of fantasy football content, and basically everything you could ever need to become a better fantasy football manager and dominate your mini leagues. To have a chance to get your team featured and rated, make sure you follow at FFH_HQ and at FFH_Fergie. No, it's not in this one. It's on the other screen. And post your team in a daily tweet, which goes out at 10 a.m. BST. I will pick, I think I've got 8 drafts today at random to talk about, discuss, and rate. Straight away, Lukaku. That's the first question of the day. So it's just been confirmed, I think, in the last 15 or 20 minutes that basically everything has been agreed. The fee has been agreed between the teams, and also his wages. It looks like he is on his way to Chelsea. Let me know in the chat what you think about his price and also what you think, how you think he will affect FPL. My initial thoughts, I think, with the pricing they've done for players like maybe Salah, Bruno, Kane, I probably expect Lukaku, because he's new to the league, to potentially come a little bit lower, but I would guess 11.5 million, maybe 11 million, but that would be my guess. I think in terms of how it'll affect FPL, well, my goodness, I mean, that was the one thing they lacked last season, right? Chelsea XG in the second half of the season was actually very, very high. I think it was only second behind Man City's. They just couldn't put the ball in the net. Werner, Havertz, all these players, they had so many chances, just couldn't do it. Lukaku will be different, and Josh Strange, are absolutely right. I think Lukaku potentially kills Havertz as an option. My initial thought as well. So there's 4 essential or must-have premiums now. So Salah, Bruno, Kane, if he goes to Man City, and Lukaku is so close in terms of who to have. I put a tweet out this morning saying that potentially I'm tempted to go by Mane ahead of Bruno, and an hour later Bruno pops a free kick into the top corner as Man United obliterate Everton, and straight away you're like, oh my goodness, he needs to do something like that. He's that good. It's probably like a 9 or 10 pointer without even thinking about it, and he came off early as well. So yeah, that's my. So it's choosing 2 out of those 4. You can get 3, but if you have 3 premiums, it significantly weakens the rest of your teams. So it's very, very tough. My kind of initial thought on the 2 to pick, probably because Kane is not going to probably start for Man City, if he does, until kind of later on, maybe game week 3, potentially even after the international break. My very initial thoughts are probably Salah and Lukaku would be my choices, with maybe someone like Greenwood or even Cavani as the United cover there. But literally very, very initial thoughts. Anyway, let's get on to the first draft here at Tony Satsky. He's got Sanchez in goals, Trent. He's gone for Ricardo Pereira, who's interesting. We have spoken a few times about Leicester fullbacks. If Pereira goes back to how he was a couple of seasons ago, I think he'd be absolutely fantastic. Luke Shaw in there as well. Luca Dean's interesting because Everton just got pulverised by Man United, which, in all fairness, Everton's attack particularly wasn't the strongest. Luca Dean apparently played well, in terms of putting lots of dangerous crosses and things like that. Apparently, Andros Townsend did take some set piece, which is interesting. Townsend at 5.5 million, so just something to think about there with that one. He's got Salah, Havertz, Benrahma, and Mane. So he's gone for Mane over Bruno, which I'm still. The only thing really stopping me, I do think that Mane could outscore Bruno in the front three. The ownership scares me with it, and I think after Bruno scoring today, and scoring such a fantastic goal, I think that Bruno's ownership will be even higher. So I'm probably going to stick on Bruno. I think Havertz is probably not as good an option as he was. Now Lukaku's there. Could be proved wrong. It could be Lukaku, his kind of hold up play and everything else brings the best out of Havertz. But my immediate thought is probably not. Benrahma starts today for West Ham and could be an interesting option. And he's gone for Tony and Cavani at front. So he has gone Cavani as his Man United cover there. He's got Brownhill, Obafemi and Manquillo, Foster on the bench. So no bench whatsoever. This is not really one of my favourite teams I've seen. There's plenty of other really good options there. I really like. Antonio, there's no Aston Villa, even though Villa's fixture's really, really nice. He's got Ben from West Ham, which is fair enough. But I think I'm going to open this up with 6.5, 7 out of 10. There's not really much to get excited about there, Tony, personally. Apologies for that. Let me know in the chat what you think about this. Chico Floor says Greenwood nailed, and Luke Elliott says thoughts on Greenwood versus Charles. So I believe Greenwood scored earlier against Everton. Greenwood looks like he's probably nailed to play the first 3 games, and that's the thing for me, which puts Greenwood ahead of Jota at the moment. You want players who are going to play. He's fit as a fiddle. Even when Man United had their triple game week last season, they had 3 games in 5 days. Greenwood was the only player who saw minutes in all 3 of those games. Just on Everton as well, there has been some rumours that Calvert-Lewin may miss the start of the season. Now, I'm only going off what I've seen off Twitter and things, but he wasn't in the squad today. There are rumours he's hurt his toe or something along those lines. If that's the case, obviously he's not an option there, but he is a very easy switch if you have Calvert-Lewin in your team to maybe someone like Ings of Villa or Bamford or any of that Antonio Iheanacho sort of range as well. So that's this first draft. Let's take a look at the next draft, if I can press the right button. And on this one, this was sent in by Stanton 5621795. So a couple of interesting picks. The reason I picked this out, he hasn't gone. I'm not necessarily only looking at players here. I'm looking at a kind of structure of team as well. So he's gone for Trent and Digne. We've mentioned Digne already. He's also gone for Sierralta at the back. But so it's more I'm interested in that he's got a cheap backline, but what it can do further up the pitch for you, right? So he's then got Bruno. He's gone for Sancho. I personally wouldn't go for Sancho to start off with. It doesn't look like he's going to start game week 1. Plenty of other options for me, in terms of that. Buendia said really like as an option. Not too keen on Watkins now that Ings is there. I also don't like the Aston Villa double up, and a double up for Brentford attack for me is madness with all the options we've got. George's already thrown out numbers like 4.2 out of 10. I do think Buemo and Tony at times during the season will probably do well. I certainly wouldn't go for them together. Captain on Salah and on his bench, Masuaku, Loughton, who incidentally didn't start today for Burnley in the friendly, and Obafemi in his bench. Stanton, I think you've got a bit of work to do with his team. I definitely wouldn't start with Sancho personally. I don't think he's going to start game week 1. Also, the kind of Watkins pick, the Buemo pick there are certainly better options there, and your defence probably Sierralta. I'm just not sure a Watford pick. The fixtures are okay. He's reasonably attacking, but I think you could do a bit of work there. Some harsh ratings. James Teasdale says 3 out of 10. Show says 4. Ryan Farrell says 3. Chris gives him a 6. Mike Venter with a very specific 1.73. I wonder if he's got some kind of algorithm there. I'd love, let's go down a few more points. And Mr. Unknown says 1, El Diablo 3. Yes, Stanton, hope you take this in the spirit it is intended, but I think you could do a bit of work there. Take a look at, some of the other drafts and switch around some of those players. Martin Boyle, can't believe it's a serious team. Come on, Martin, give him a break. He's trying to learn. Next team, some interesting ones. So this is Octavian Sue, and again he's gone for 3 at the back in this one. So Sanchez in goal, Trent, Diaz, and Soufal. Really good picks. Soufal started for West Ham. There was a few concerns around whether Soufal was fit, but he's starting today for West Ham. Soufal at the moment, I think he might be my latest draft. I'm not sure. I've actually got 2 drafts to show later. I've cheated. So when I show you my team later, I've got my draft that I had this morning, but I've also got the draft following that Man United game. Trying to is so difficult, and I also like Ings as well, right? Which I'm not going to be shy about there. I think on reflection, I think if Ings starts that game week 1, he's going to be one of those players like we all have them, right? The players where you just pray and they don't score, but you really think they're going to. I think if you have anyone in your mind like that, and Ings, Ings was like that at Southampton. In a poorer team with poorer service around him. Imagine what he's going to do for Aston Villa. Ings, overnight is probably gone up in my estimations in terms of what I think he could actually do. Just to say for everyone asking, to have a chance to get your team featured and rated, make sure you follow at FFH_HQ and FFH_Fergie. Post your team in the daily tweet, which goes out at 10 a.m. BST. Please don't DM me your teams. I won't be looking at my teams in my DMs. I'm sorry. And pick 7 or 8 drafts every day to discuss. I'm not picking out completely template teams. I'm trying to pick out some which just gives us a couple of talking points, maybe structurally, maybe some different players you haven't thought about. Just try and mix it up a little bit. In midfield, I really like that midfield of Salah, Fernandes, and Greenwood. I think Greenwood, after watching him earlier against Everton, I think Greenwood is someone I'm going to have to try and look to fit in my team. Obviously, all this is without thinking about how the hell we're gonna get Lukaku in, right, as well. It's gone for Bowen. Now, I don't think the Bowen started pre-season friendly today, so you may want to have a look about that. If you want any pre-season news, fantasyfootballhub.co.uk, we have a pre-season guide which has got everything you will need. It's got apps, absolutely everything you'll need in terms of looking at all the pre-season stuff. It's also got Antonio at front, which I think is a fantastic pick, and Tony, and he's got Wilson. Now, there were rumours yesterday that Wilson may miss the start of the season, but I've also heard, again, in the last half an hour, all this stuff just comes off, kind of articles and Twitter things, that he may actually be fit. So Wilson is definitely one to keep an eye on. I do think he's a good option, and he definitely saw a massive upturn in form in the second half of the season when Newcastle changed their attacking coach. Foster, Brownhill, Ben White, and Omaba Mideli, who incidentally starts for Norwich today in a friendly. I do like it. I think I wouldn't go for a double up on West Ham. Actually, you go for triple up on West Ham, but double up on attack. I would personally go for another option here because you haven't got a Villa player, maybe Buendia, maybe a better option there. But I really like the balance of the team. I personally prefer, 4 at the back, but I can't argue. You haven't got a United defender, but you have got the attackers. Good team, and I think I'm going to rate this 8 out of 10. Octavian. Chris A's rated it 8. Alex Mann says 7. Nigel Pritchard says 7.5. Let me know in the chat what you think of this team. Just for those of us who are joining us, it seems in the last half an hour that Romelu Lukaku looks like he will definitely be signing for Chelsea. Bit of a game breaker. Let me know in the chat which 2 of Salah, Bruno, Lukaku, and Kane that you think you're gonna potentially start with at the start of the season. We're talking about game week 1, right? Really difficult. My current 2 picks that I'm thinking about, probably Salah and I don't even know. Either Salah and Bruno or Salah and Lukaku. I probably won't start Kane in game week 1. Really tough. It'd be interesting to see Lukaku's ownership throughout the week, and also the press conference late in the week to see if he's going to start in game week 1. If you haven't liked the stream yet, I'd really appreciate it. If you are enjoying it, if you could press like. I'm not about the likes, but it really, really does help us get more visibility, get more views. I'd really appreciate it if everyone just watching now could press like if you are enjoying. Let's take a look at another team while we're doing it, and this one was sent in by Huegi Lem, and this one he's got a couple of Leicester players, a couple of players we haven't really talked about as well. So we've gone for Schmeichel in goal. I think Schmeichel is decent. Obviously, Leicester have lost Fofana now, and I think that Evans is injured, so they are maybe potentially struggling at the back. So I do think even though Leicester have got good fixtures, potentially their defence is one to leave alone personally at the moment. Saying that, you have got Amati in, and Amati may start. I believe Amati is a 4 million player. I believe. I personally, I'd leave it, right. You've also gone for Van Dijk. You're the only draft I've seen with Van Dijk. That's probably because he may start on game week 1, but there is definitely other options I would go with. Luca Dean as well. There's been a bit of a downturn in the love of him at the moment because they've just been smashed by Man United. Salah, Bruno, Havertz. I think Lukaku takes away from Havertz, so I'd probably be avoiding Havertz from the start personally. Gone for El Ghazi, could be an interesting pick. So on penalties, though, you would guess when Ings starts that he is on penalties. Harsh from Langs, he says, crap team. A little bit harsh. Antonio up front, who I like. Calvert-Lewin, who may be injured. And Mopai, I just don't understand the Mopai thing personally. And interesting, Doherty, Ayling, and Longstaff. I do think Ayling for me is the best 4.5. So if you are looking at 4.5s, I do think that Ayling was very unlucky not to get some attacking returns last year. Leeds defence tightened right up at the back end of the season as well. I think Ayling is the best 4.5 personally. Doherty could be an interesting one as well. Now Spurs do have 5 games in August because they have the Europa League Conference playoff games. They are against a pretty poor team. I think one is it's either going to be against Larne from Northern Ireland. I can't remember the name of the other team, but Doherty should see a lot of minutes and get up to speed. I do think Doherty could play a part. He's 5 million. He could play a part later in the season. Mike Venter says this team makes me want to do bad things. That's fair enough. Hugo Lem. I think you've got a way to go on this team. It's probably the lowest rated team that I've seen. Alpha says team looks randomized. A little bit harsh. I can understand it's a bit of a dodger. I think the only good thing in the team is he's got Salah, Bruno, and Antonio. I'm starting to rate this anything above a 5. I think you've got a bit of work to do with this, Hugo Lem. Take a look at the other drafts in the thread on Twitter. I think you can do better. And you may find that your FPL game significantly improves. I'm going to give this a 4.5 out of 10. Look at the other drafts on Twitter and the thread. There's so many better options than the one you've picked there, personally. Martin King says Spurs will hopefully play their reserves in the ECL. No, I do agree with that. I think they will, but also they want to make sure they get through as well. Mr. Unknown says he's stuck in 2017, and Joe Bellamy rates this as a 2. Mango Tango Fango rates it as 5, and Jerome says that bench definitely looks randomised. Not the best draft we will see. The GOAT says 1. I'd best leave this team, Hugo, before we really dent your confidence, but you've got a bit of work to do there, buddy. Let's have a look at this one. So this is off Purple. So Purple has been with us all week. He's also very, very kindly, and here's a hint, he cropped his team and he put his name on it, hint, which makes life easier for me. But Sanchez in goals, Digne, okay, Trent and Shaw, that's a good back three. Don't go for Digne, you can go for other players there at that price point. There's plenty there, Creswell, and or you could go up to a City or Chelsea defender as well, or down to Ayling. He's got Grealish in, which is interesting. I'm interested, in people's thoughts on Grealish. So apparently he's not going to start the Community Shield later because he's not fit enough to start. Whether that means he's fit enough to start in game week 1, I don't know. But with De Bruyne rumoured to be injured out, with Foden out definitely, I think, for a few weeks now, we could see Grealish making a few starts. So you haven't heard anything around, Sterling or anything like that. Mahrez has obviously played a few, but be interesting to see where Grealish play. I think this is the thing with Grealish. Even at Villa last year, he was pretty good FPL points. So there's a big difference, as we know, between a player and fantasy points. Right, we're only looking at fantasy points here. Grealish obviously a wonderful player. I'm sure he'll do fantastic well for Man City. But are there better FPL options at his price? We will see in the next week or two. Buendia, he's gone for Mount, and I do think Mount again. He was another one who definitely benefited in the second half of the season. His XG and all that massively increased when Tuchel played there. I also think Mount is on quite a few set pieces and things. When Lukaku's there, I think players like Chilwell, Reece James in particular, because Reece James puts in a wicked ball. I remember a couple of games last year where Reece James put it on Tammy Abraham's head, and Abraham he couldn't hit a cow's backside with a banjo. And whereas you'd think Lukaku would be absolutely burying that. So I do think Lukaku's signing may actually be good for players like Reece James, Mason Mount as well. The good, the people who swing in the crosses, corners, free kicks, and things. It probably is worth mentioning that Mount is a million less than Havertz, so I think he could be a good option. He's gone for Tony Ings and Calvert-Lewin at front. No Man United attackers, which has been pointed out by James Beacock. I would personally look to start with a United player, potentially Greenwood ahead of Grealish. And I would Calvert-Lewin looks like he's injured, so you can either go down to a 4.5 and beef up your defence, or maybe beef up Grealish to Bruno. He's got Rafinha on his bench, which I don't hate because there's a bit of budget there as well. So I think that I think you've got a decent balance there in terms of your team. The only real miss I think is a Man United attacker. So I'm going to give this 7.5 purple. I can see you in the chats. Sabretooth says 8. Let me know in the chat what you think about the rating for this team. I'm going to give it a 7.5. He's also got 1.5 million in the bank, so I should point that out. So he is thinking ahead. Actually, I'll bump it up to 7.68 out of 10 with that 1.5 million in the bank, because you have got a bit of flexibility there. SGM5 says Havertz over Mount. I'm not sure, because I do think that Lukaku could impact. I think that Lukaku signing potentially makes Mount a better option for the reasons I mentioned earlier. Let's take a look at another team, and this was sent in at Jonathan_W. CM. So again, this was probably sent in before the Everton Man United game. Martinez in goals, I think absolutely brilliant pick. If I could afford Martinez, he would definitely be in my team. I've got a couple of. I'm kind of torn at the moment between 3 drafts, which I'm just really stuck on. Is that 5 at the back against a 4-4-2 with Martinez against I think a 4-3-3. There's only one player between all 3, and it's deciding which one I want there. Anyway, Martinez in goal, Trent, Digne and Shaw, absolutely fine. Maybe move, Digne out, if you do think that Everton playing that badly is going to carry on. Maybe move to Soufal potentially as well to save yourself 500,000. Greenwood, Salah, Gundogan and Son. This is a very interesting midfield. We haven't seen midfield like this. Gundogan is probably what I'm not massively interested in. I know he played very well, so I was a massive advocate for Gundogan last season. So for everyone who watches the Green Arrow stream and podcast on this channel, I was a massive advocate for Gundogan last season. But even when De Bruyne was missing towards the end of last season, Gundogan wasn't playing as advanced positions. So I personally think you could spend that 7.5 million on better attacking players. Greenwood I really like, so he is clearly going for Greenwood over Bruno because he hasn't really got the funds to get to Bruno quickly. Has gone for Son. So my thoughts on Son. We haven't seen many drafts with Son in. I just think for 10 million, I'm sure he'll do okay. But with Spurs' new signings, Kane, the whole circus surrounding Kane. I think even if Son does play at front, you've got to ask. So the reason why, one of the reasons why Kane is so effective up front is because he has Son there, right? And one of the reasons why Son is such a good option is because he has Kane assisting him with his quality balls, right? So if Kane isn't there and Son plays up front, I've no doubt that Son will score goals. He will very likely be on penalties as well, but he's not going to have Harry Kane assisting him and giving him the balls and sliding him through. He's going to have, he's going to have other players. He's going to have players like Moira, Ali potentially, and Dombele, even though he kind of maybe on his way apparently. Brian Gill, I don't know a lot about, but he's a youngster. He'll probably take time to bed in. So that's my concern with Son, is that if Son plays up front, which is the hope, he's not going to have Kane giving him the ball. Antonio, Tony, and Watkins, not much argument there. If you can, I would personally on this team put Digne down to Soufal and put Watkins up to wings. I think it's a good shout. Gundogan and Son, I think I'd prefer something like, I don't know, Mahrez and someone else in that midfield personally, or maybe downgrade and get another premium defender in, maybe like Ancello, maybe Chilwell or someone like that. But decent team, nice structure, nice price points. I'm going to give this a 7.5 out of 10, 7.75 out of 10. I don't think it's quite an 8, but I don't think it's quite a 7.5. I think there's work to do that. You've also got no very easy route to Lukaku or Kane or Bruno or whatever else there. Josh Strange said Townsend and Gray were taking them, so I've missed a conversation there. George says Tony's a huge trap, especially in this price. Very interested. He's a very confident young chap, Ivan Toney. I've seen a few of his interviews this week. I don't know whether I'm being swayed by them, but he thinks he's going to score north of 15 league goals this season. Is what he said, and he's also said that when asked his hopes and aspirations for Brentford in season, he said we're going to try and win the Premier League. And while that's obviously, very, very unlikely to actually happen, I do like that spirit of, if you aim high and fall and fall just short, it's better than aiming for mediocrity, right? So, he could have said, I hope we stay up, right? Or I hope for mid-table. But if you hope for that, that's probably as high as you're going to get, right? If you aim to smash it and come 8th or 9th, I really like that spirit, and that's the spirit that Leicester had a few years ago when they won it. So, he's a very, very confident guy. Simon Bando says Tony is deluded, and Alpha says Tony's optimistic, but mostly talk. He's mostly talk, but he's also 31 goals and 10 assists. So, in the Championship, which is nothing to sniff at. So I'm going to give him a go. I think, I think he's good enough. He's on penalties, which for me, if he wasn't on penalties, I probably wouldn't go for him. But I do like players who are on penalties. They only need to score a goal, and when they get like 8 or 9 points. Sorry, they only need to score a penalty, 8 or 9 points, which is one of the quirks in FPL, which I don't really like. But if you know the rules, if you know how the bonus points are rated, you use it to your favour. So it's happened with Kane on many occasions where he's played bloody awful. He's got a penalty, ends up with 9 points, 18-point captain. That's all you need, right? T27H, what do you think about DS and Mahrez double up? I'm not against it at all. I think both of them are very, very likely to start the first 2 games. If you can afford them, I think it could be a really good option. I've got no arguments there at all. One player which does interest me in Man City, which I don't even mention all week actually. Bookmark this next week. Ferran Torres at 7 million. So I'm very interested to see the Community Shield lineup later and the pre-season stuff. Gabriel Jesus was away with Brazil quite late on, I think. So I am wondering whether Ferran Torres may get a start up front for 1 or 2 game weeks. You watch now. He'll start late against Leicester and score a hat trick, and it will all because everyone will have him, right? But Ferran Torres for me at 7 million. For people who are looking for just a punt, right? Just who can I be different? I do wonder whether Ferran Torres could get off to a flyer, especially in game week 2. Even though you would guess if he starts in game week 1, then Jesus will start in game week 2. But if you've got a good bench, Torres is one I'm, obviously, this week now, and this is why I really enjoy doing this stream every day. Things change every day, right? And you may find yourself with that 7 million, 6.5, 7 million gap that you're wondering who to fill. Torres may be the man if you're after a punt. Let's have a look at another team while we're here, and this came in from George, who's actually in the chat. Hello there, George. He says overrated DCL is out for weeks. If he is out for weeks, definitely don't want him. So looking at George's team, I like this team. I like the defensive midfield until I got up front. And George, I'm not sure if you're, well, I say even trying to laugh. I'm only saying it because I never see him in any fantasy football team. But he's gone for Messi and goals. Okay, I'm not a massive fan. I think you should go down to Sanchez and save the 0.5. Great defence. Chilwell, Trent, Creswell, Shaw and James. Boom. And I like Reece James. Reece James is another one in the Torres mould who I think could be worth a start. The only problem with Reece James is when he's subbed, he tends to come on, which is very annoying. George has rated his own team at 10 out of 10. You can't do that, George. I haven't rated any team at 10 yet. But I do like the Reece James pick at 5.5. I do think that is a good pick. I do wonder whether it's worth risking starting the season with him at that point. Like I mentioned earlier, I think Lukaku signing for him. If you remember, Abraham he couldn't get on the end of James's crosses. I do think James will have a big part to play this season. Salah, Bruno, and Harrison, no arguments there. Jimenez, an interesting one. I personally would go for a different option just to start with. We got to remember, right, that even though Jimenez is such a good player, so Wolves played earlier and Jimenez played and they lost 1-0, right? It's just, even as fantastic as one player is, if you haven't got the players around you who's going to struggle to score goals. And then we come on to Bobby Firmino up front. Michael Watson says, give your head a wobble. Harsh. But yeah, for Firmino up front, I'm not really sure. You watch him now, he'll score a couple of goals in game week 1 and we'll be laughing. Fred Jones gives it a 9.5. Just safer options there, buddy, than going for Firmino. You've already got Trent and Salah. If you're going to go for a Liverpool attack, I would probably say Jota is the best one. Edwardinho, why the heck have you got Firmino? Martin Judge Jensen and Teddy Boy rate it as 5 out of 10s, and Pisco says 5 out of 10s. Kirky says 6. Fred 9 out of 10. Very very nice. I personally would give this whole team, again, I'm not looking at individual players as such, but the structure of the team, right? Because this only needs a Firmino to Ings move, right? And this is suddenly a very, very nice looking team. So I would personally go Meslier to either Sanchez or Martinez. I personally wouldn't mess around there with that, and I would personally go Jimenez and Firmino to maybe Ings, Antonio. Personally, I think 8 out of 10. I'm giving you the benefit with Firmino now, George. I think you stuck him in there potentially as a placeholder, potentially to have a bit of fun. I don't know if you've been on the beer when you picked Bobby out, but I think just move him on. Some ratings. Nick Barrett is 9 out of 10. Originality. Nice to see something different. Absolutely, Nick. It is good. Diam says, sorry, 5 and 5 out of 10. Either play 3-4-3 or 4-3. Michael Watson says 7. MD Chowdhury says 6.5. And Chico Floor says Bertrand going to start game week 1. Just interestingly on Bertrand. Bertrand is I'm not sure if he's starting for Leicester, but even if he does start for Leicester in game week 1 or 2, we've already said they've lost Fofana, they've lost their defense is in a bit of trouble there, and even though they have nice fixtures, but he was on set pieces last week ahead of Maddison, who was on the pitch. He had 2 assists as well. I think he's a good player. It's just if he can nail down that spot. Let's take Firmino and his gleaming teeth off the screen and move on to Kazim Chima 87's team. And first thing, whacks you right in the face, right? Triple captain chip on Salah in game week 1. which is exactly what I did 2 seasons ago. And I got a 12-pointer from it. So it was when they played Norwich again. When Norwich first came up, they won 4-1. And Salah got a goal and assist inside the first, I think it was 25 minutes or something. And I had my triple captain on him, and I was absolutely buzzing. Sadly, that's all he ended up with. But, a 36 pointer off the bat is not a bad thing. So, Kazim, I'm not against it. He has gone for Bachmann and Foster. Wayne would go for Bachmann ahead of Sanchez. I don't understand personally. Trent, Luca Dean, I would personally, after today, it's probably a bit knee-jerk, but you could move on Dean for another another 5.5. I think it's better options there. Alt-Nari. Now, I'm not sure whether he's going to start the season. He did play a lot in early pre-season games, but I don't think he's played the last one. I think Marçal played in his place. So I don't think he's going to stay. You could put him on your bench if you wanted. Aylin, I really like Aylin there. Son, Rafinha, Smith Rowe, and Mahrez, really, really good picks there. And Antonio, he's gone for Aubameyang now. I haven't seen any Aubameyangs, and to me, it's not it's not a crazy move as it might seem, because I'm assuming he's putting them there. They're playing Brentford in game week 1. They're also it's a really easy switch to Lukaku as well. So you haven't got any Chelsea attackers, but it would be an easy switch to Lukaku, potentially, Kane or wherever. So I'm not massively against it. Again, looking at the price points, Martin Boyle says, wherever the guy has been smoking, I would quite like some. El Diablo says 3 out of 10. Martin says 4 out of 10. Get rid of Auba and Nori. Yeah, I can't argue with that. JC says Keenan Davis, triple captain. I think he's the one we want to check out his cigarette box for what is in there. George rates it at 6.24. Jibin rates it at 6.5. Pisco an 8. And a few other ones. Ryan says get rid of Auba for Ings, and it's a 9. It's hard to argue. Kazim, loyal listener and watcher of Green Arrow. I am going to rate this as a. I'm bottling it today. I'm in between the 7.5 and 8, but I'm going to give it 7.75. I like the structure of the team. I've got no arguments. Aubrey is brave, right? Aubrey is brave, and Andrew Tavey says he's got this spot on, right? He says too many people think different equals bad, and this is it, right? If everything was obvious, we would all be number 1 in FPL, right? But it's not obvious. And would you really, really be surprised if Aubameyang got a goal and assist against Brentford? Because I wouldn't. I don't think it's the most out there thing I've seen. I've definitely seen worse teams. So I think it's okay. Edudinho says, should I go for Diaz or Dina? I think I would go for Diaz, buddy, if I had the choice there. James Penberthy asks, how much will Lukaku be? My guess would be 11 to 11.5 would be my guess. He'd be new to the league, but he's also played in this league before. Brilliant at Inter. So I'd say 11. I think it's gonna be hard not to pick him unless we know that Kane is going straight away to that City team for game week 2 against Norwich. Ante says different doesn't mean bad, but all but different is bad. I can't. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion. And George tip Mount for game week 1. I got no issue with Mount. Honestly, I think Mount is a good season long pick. I wouldn't pick him and take him out again. That's the one thing I wouldn't do. If I was going for someone like Mount, you just leave him in, because he's got a decent game at home to Palace in game week 1. He's got some tougher games, but Mount for me is a decent pick for an extended period of time. Right, it doesn't have to be kind of season long. But if I was going for Mount, I'd be going for 8 or 10 game weeks. I wouldn't just go for 1 or 2. I'm disappointed when he doesn't return, and then look to move him on personally. Paradox Gamer HD says Cancelo or Shaw. My preference would be Shaw, and Harry says Dino or Shaw. My preference would be Shaw again. I think that Shaw, is going to be a fantastic pick. I do think Cancelo is also going to be a good pick, but you do save 500,000, and Cancelo may not play every single game. Phantom says he thinks Lukaku will be 12.5. I'm not sure. I don't think he'd be that much because he'd be new into the league. JC, is Stones likely to be nailed? I think he's as nailed as he can be, right, to start off with. So they haven't got, City haven't got any European or Carabao games in August right until the international break. They only play 3 games, and that is one game per week for the first 3 game weeks. So I can't see why Pep would rotate. I mean, am I actually saying that out loud? I can't see why Pep would rotate, but that's at the moment. Purple says I think taking Tony out, so great to Lukaku. I mean, it's hard to argue with that. And we're back to the start. So I'm going to show my team in a sec. Really appreciate it first. If you are enjoying the stream, if you enjoying the chat, please press like. I'd really, really appreciate it. I'm not going to do the whole press like to see my team thing. I had a couple of comments on that, and that's fair enough, so I'm not going to do that. But I would really appreciate it if you are enjoying the stream for having to press like. I know it sounds like it's an ego thing, but for those who understand YouTube, the more likes a stream gets, the more views they get. So just as an example, the one the other day where I held out for loads of likes got 11,000 views, whereas a lot of the rest only got 6,000 or 7,000, and that's the power that having lots of likes has. It rates higher in the algorithm. So I really, really appreciate it if you would like the stream. Just say, to have a chance of getting your team featured and rated, make sure you follow at FFH_HQ and at FFH_Fergi. Post your team in the daily tweet, which goes out at 10 a.m. BST. I will pick out eight or so drafts to have a discussion about. There's no point sticking in a completely template team. I'm not going to look at it and rate it because there's no point. And don't put in anything stupid either, because I'll just ignore it. And please don't DM me. Just put your teams in, and we can have a chat about the different options. Just to say, I will be here 3 p.m. BST every single day right up until the deadline. I'm also going to do a deadline stream. I'm not sure yet. I'm considering doing 3 p.m. till 6:30 p.m. on Friday BST, which would be a 3.5 hour just constant stream. The only issue with that is I do need to sort out my own teams and things as well, not just for FPL but for all the other fantasy games. But we'll see how we get on with that. Okay, let's have a look then, and we're going to have a look now at my draft. So I've cheated today, and I've got 2 drafts. So this is the one which I showed yesterday. I have made one slight change. I've got Sanchez in goal, so I'm currently on it. Well, on here I'm on a 5-3-2. Got Sanchez in goals. Ideally, I'd like Martinez, right? But the million just goes so much further elsewhere. It's really strong back 5. After today, Luca Dean may come out potentially. I've already looked at Digne to Creswell or Soufal, but anyway, Cancelo I really like. Shaw, Dean, which who may move to Soufal or Creswell, or could move down to a 4 millioner if I want to try and squeeze a player or two, which I'll mention now. Trent and Chilwell. So the only change from yesterday's team is I've done Chilwell in ahead of Creswell, just because I had that extra 500,000 in the bank, and I do think that Chilwell, is just going to have a fantastic season. He's just going to score loads of points. I know their fixtures aren't the best, but I want to try and minimize transfers. That is something I really, really want to do this season, is minimize transfers and not be wasting them, right? So we hear about fixture swings from X game week and Y game week, right? Well, if you're just using your fixtures every week on jumping on these teams with better fixtures, it means that your team is never, your team as a whole is never really moving forward. You can't get ahead of the curve because you're just making the same moves as everyone else, right? So by getting in people like Cancelo and Chilwell early doors, just leaving them there, right? Just leave him. It means that when Chelsea's fixtures roll around, you need to make one move to get on double Chelsea rather than having to make 2 or take hits or plan them in advance, right? So that's my kind of strategy, or kind of one of the strategies that I'm using this season. Midfield, a midfield of Salah, Bruno. I've got Buendia and Rafinha. I think they're fantastic options, but as I mentioned earlier, I'm quite keen on Ings, and it's given me a bit of a dilemma, because thinking about it, overnight, Ings obviously signed a couple of days ago. I've had a bit of time to process it now, and Ings is the kind of player I think I'm going to be scared of not owning, and when I'm scared of not owning a player, I like to just have them, right? Because it saves so much heartache. How many times you not own the player, and he scores, and you just think, why didn't I just get? Why haven't I got him in? And everyone else has got him. Twitter's going crazy. Everyone's going crazy. Ings with all the exclamation marks and sunglasses, and I'm there going bollocks. Ings for me. I don't like a double up. So if I do get Ings in, which I think I'm likely to, as it stands, I probably won't go for Buendia. Tony and Antonio up front. I've still got Teller, though that 0.5 is stretching. But for those who haven't seen it before, Nathan Teller. So he didn't start today in Southampton's most recent friendly. Obafemi started in front of him, which is a bit of a kick in, a kick in the proverbial. So he's still in at the moment, but I will see. That was the team which I had this morning, and the team that I've got. I've slightly changed it to just try and squeeze in Ings and also Greenwood. So it looks like Greenwood is gonna start. He's another player. He's got I think his ownership this week, especially after scoring today, is gonna go through the roof, right? And with good reason. Andrew Tavey just says Antonio just scored. Too early, Makal. What are you doing? Next week we need him to score, Andrew. But I think Antonio's a great pick. Ooh. Apologies, everyone. I pressed the wrong button. I pressed the wrong button there. Let me just see if I can put this out. Yeah, there we go. There's me the team. Apologies there. I bet everyone thought that the stream had finished, but it hasn't. So this is my other team I've got at the moment. So a couple of things as mentioned earlier. So this is a team where I fit in Greenwood and Ings. So I've taken out Chilwell, which I'm not keen on doing, as I mentioned earlier. It's all about now being able to afford things, right? Afford all the players that you want to afford. But I've gone for Sanchez. I got Cancelo, so really want City coverage. Shaw, Trent, and Soufal. So this is I've gone back to 4 at the moment, but it's to fit in Greenwood, right? It does mean that I haven't got Rafinha or Buendia. I'm not too bothered about missing out on Buendia when I've got Ings up front. So I've gone Salah, Fernandes, and Greenwood. It still means that I can, I can move from Bruno to a Lukaku or Kane or wherever. And up front, I really like this 3. I think this 3 is 3 I really like. Ings, Tony, and Antonio. I like it. I think of the 3, if I was to move down for to a 4.5, I think now it maybe have to be Tony who goes out. I did picking up earlier. I still, I think you do well. I don't think you'll do as well as Ings and Antonio, especially at the start of the season. That's the kind of reason why. Chris A is giving it an 8.5. Historia Films 9, and Zudavi says prefer the second myself. I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean. It's where I am at the moment. I've still got Teller there, right? So I've still got that 0.5 in there as well, which I can, I can maybe use somewhere. But at the moment, that's what I'm on. Like I say, the dilemmas, which I've got at the moment is that, Ings, Greenwood, Chilwell. I actually like Mount. I do like Mount. And Justin actually, so we were saying earlier about Ben Rama was one of the first things we looked at. He got the assist for Antonio, apparently a beautiful assist as well. So that is quite interesting. And good point from Dante as well. Did James Rodriguez play in the front? He did. I think he actually played up front. It kind of looked like that when they put the team sheet out. FG, why not Calvert-Lewin? It looks like he may be injured. And Mislav says Buendia or Bailey. Mislav, you have to go for Buendia to start with. I just think he's just got a lot more potential playing in the number 10, probably on a lot of set pieces and things as well. George says if Cancelo was nailed, he would have 40% ownership. I do agree, and he is one of my differentials. I think in terms of the fact that. I think he'll play. So he's played in pre-season. He's had a couple of assists. Ryan asks, would Lukaku tempt you? Absolutely, he would tempt me. But you can't have everyone, right? This is the problem. So even if Lukaku signs this week, I'm not sure he'll start in game week 1. And Chelsea's fixtures, as we know, are maybe not as good as Man United. Fernandes has just popped in a free kick for the team he's going to be playing every single game for next week. So to start off with, I think Salah and Bruno are probably the two to actually start with. But I do think Lukaku and Kane will very, very much come to our reckoning very early as well. Early wildcards may be being, popping out of purses and pockets soon. So that is my team at the moment. Just one more ask, please. If you did enjoy the stream, I really, really appreciate it if you could press like. It really does help us get bigger audiences, and does encourage me to come on more and more, and do these sorts of things. So just one final ask for some likes, if that's great. If you liked it, obviously. If you didn't like it, don't like it. Fair enough. I hope you enjoyed. I'll be back tomorrow at 3 p.m. BST and every single day right up until the deadline on Friday, August the 13th, running through drafts and answering questions. If you enjoyed, please press like and drop me a follow on Twitter at FFH_Fergie. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do in the bottom right hand corner of the screen. Our handles on Twitter, Instagram and TikTok are at FFH_HQ. Our website is fantasyfootballhub.co.uk, where you will find everything you need for Fantasy Premier League and Fantasy Football all under one roof, including player comparison tools, the fixture ticker, Opta stats, top player team reveals, some of the videos that are right here on this channel from the very best FPL managers, points prediction tools, and much, much more. Take a look at the other videos on this channel. We got our website tools. We've got a link for an ultimate guide. If you just have a look at the ultimate guide, have a look at the website, you will see what we've got right in terms of tools and articles. We've got the best, and that and that's the end of it, really. And to join the tens of thousands of other fantasy managers and sign up to the hub, to use all our amazing resources, click the top link in the description below and sign up. You will not regret it. Absolutely promise you. I'll be back tomorrow at 3 p.m. BST, rating more teams and answering your questions. I will see you all then. Goodbye for now.